We'll first talk about the layout of a resume. So this is a resume of mine from a few years ago. I have my name at the top, some contact information, and then notice I've got some headings here. So you want to be really consistent with your headings. So I've got a heading that's in all caps here. My next heading is in all caps here. And then as you go down, I've got these major headings that are in all caps. And then obviously there's some subheadings inside of here with bullets. We want to make sure that all of our headings line up perfectly. We want to make sure that our subheadings line up perfectly, that our bullets line up perfectly, so that it has a really clean feeling to it, so that it's consistent. Also, you want to think about the order that you put information. So the information that you want right at the top, you definitely want to have some kind of contact information for you. The next thing you want to list up there is what's most important. What's going to be most important to this employer? And when you're first graduating from school, usually it's your education. So you want to put any degrees that you have at the top, maybe your GPA, that could be helpful, the year that you graduated, the university. So you want all that information right at the top so they can see that. And then you start into an experience section where you've prioritized these different bullets and the information in here to align most closely to what they're looking for. So in this particular resume, I have aircraft research and development at the top. Now some people will lump these into different companies that they've worked for, and I've done that as well. In fact, in a later one I'll show you an example where I do that. But so sometimes you want to put a company name and the year, the time that you worked there. In this particular resume, I just lumped it by types of experience, not necessarily with a certain company that I was working for at the time. So let me show you another example here. This is a resume from a few months later. In fact, at this point, I was applying to teach at a university, to teach a couple classes as an adjunct faculty member. And so you can see I have my education at the top, and then the most important thing for that application was teaching. I thought that they probably want to see what kind of teaching experience I have. So I put that right at the top, and then I moved on into my other experience that maybe supported the types of classes that I was applying for that I wanted to teach. So let me show you, this is a more recent version of my resume. And by the way, you should keep a file on your computer that is simply your resume that you can update constantly. I have hundreds of different versions of my resume that I've gone through over the years, and you want to just keep a folder on your computer and copy and paste the file. Don't overwrite your old resume. Simply copy it or duplicate it and start editing on your new resume as you make edits, so that you can always go back and see maybe how you worded something in the past. But here's a more recent resume. And by the way, since I'm in academia now, we call this a CV. That stands for Curriculum Vitae. And so this is maybe structured a little different than a normal resume, but it has the same principles in it. So you see my name, contact information, and again, education is probably the most important thing, at least at this point in my career. So that's right at the top. And then I have a list of different professional positions that I've held and the date ranges that I was there. So that helps a future employer kind of put together my history. And then this is something that's maybe a little unique. A lot of academics have not had an experience of going out and working in industry, at least in engineering. And so I have some notable industry projects right up at the top, because that sets me apart a little bit from the rest of the academics out there that might be applying for a position. And then the next section is publications. In academia, publications are very important. And so I have then a list of my publications that are broken into journal publications and meeting papers or conference papers. And then if we keep coming down, then I have other things that may or may not appear on a normal resume. So research awards, for example, and then professional service, university service, awards, seminars and talks. But what I'm trying to show you here is a consistency. All of my sections are the same type of font, same size. They're each underlined, And the idea here is that you want to build your resume so that it's very easy to look at, and that the reader can quickly get the feel for how you've organized this resume. Remember, your resume is going to be one of many that they look at, and so you want it to be easy to look at. You don't want them to have to hunt around and put pieces together. You want to tell the story for them. Now, one thing you can use is bold and underline. Notice I have some things underlined, some things bolded, and then I also have hyperlinks in here. Chances are really good that that whoever's reviewing your resume will be looking at this on a computer and can click on a hyperlink. And maybe you want that to take them to a YouTube video of a project that you worked on, or a web page that you designed, or something like that. In this particular example, these are links to papers, so they can click on them and go right there and see the paper. I've used bold and underline to set certain things out so that they catch their eye and they can quickly get the information out of the resume that they're looking for. So in some sense, you have to know a little bit about what they're looking for, how they're going to grade your resume, and make sure that those types of things are set apart and stand out in your resume.